Pick up your comments, questions.
Good afternoon, very eminent professor of sociology, Professor Rajesh Gilji, the chairperson of this symposium, my fellow presenter, Professor Kulwinder Kaur, Professor Ansari, and Professor Viswaraksha ji, the president of NWISA, Dr. Rajni, she is convener with me in Indian Sociological Society. Okay. And Professor Dhul and others, and dear research scholars and students, and all the delegates. I'm very grateful to Dr. Bajwa and Dr. Rachana for giving me this opportunity to come and share some of my ideas on the very important theme. And I'm also very happy to see this important theme of NWISA conference on marginality and inequality. And this is the theme on which I have been working for about 2.5 decades. I have completed about 45 research projects, and my latest project has been accepted by ICSSR for book publication. So, and my last book was also on Northwestern India, urban development in Northwestern India. How to connect it? Yes, there's a PPT. Yes. Yeah. So, Dr. Professor Kulwinder Kaur has already, discussed about theoretical dimensions of the theme. So, I'll try to skip those aspects and I'll try to highlight some of the issues in the context. And whatever data I have, I'll try to show some of the. Is it coming? No. इसको ऑन करना होगा ना. और रिमोट है चलाने की या यहीं से चल जाएगा? अच्छा, तो एक्चुअली एक चार्ट है जो शुरू में मैं दिखाना चाहता हूँ बिफोर आई मूव. हाँ जी, क्या चाहिए आपको? ये चाहिए? नहीं. Anyway, we can move. Let's not waste time of all of you. There is an intersectoral shift in. If you look at contributions of different sectors in GDP, the contribution of agriculture is declining, and that has been declining for a long time now. And what it means? It means a lot of changes. The agriculture is not able to support the population. It used to support earlier, and a lot of people are now migrating to the cities. And Madam has already highlighted that what kind of problems cities are facing. So there is a kind of shifting of rural poverty to urban areas. The shifting of rural marginality to urban areas. And when you look at morphology of a city, physiology of the city, you will find that there are various pockets within the cities, even in the planned city of Chandigarh. The pockets of deprivation, pockets of marginality, pockets of exclusion, pockets of neglect of rights, different type of rights. Right to education, right to health services, right to water, right to toilet, right, many things. Mobility, transport. This one. You can see this trend. The green one shows the declining contribution of agriculture in GDP. And this is what we are, suffering. Because of this, we are having this problem of marginality in urban areas. And this marginality contains a lot of things from rural area. I'll show you some of the data on this, that what kind of issues even the rural areas are facing. Urbanization is huge. We had 8,000 towns in 2011, and if we have census data in the next few years, you will see maybe we'll have 10,000 towns, which means maybe 420 or 30 million population living in the cities, and maybe 100 million plus towns, which are called metropolitan towns. And in 2011, we have about 18% population in slum, and similar population in slum-like conditions, deprived, areas. And at the same time, if you look at the GDP of these major cities like Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore, etc., this is for economic momentum of few large cities. We are creating a lot of imbalances, demographic imbalances in terms of services, many other kind of problems which are concentrated. There are a lot of issues which are emerging. I'm not going in detail because the time is very limited. Keeping in view of the time, I'll try to show you some of the crucial things which are happening in the country in the context of the theme. And this is one of the dimensions. I'm a sociologist, but sometimes I look at economic aspects also and try to see what is going on in economic development, GDP, etc., etc. And I found this map, which with this data in percentage shows the contribution of the each state in GDP, and you can see the variation. There is huge variation. You go to Northeast and you'll find entire Northeast is about 2% of GDP. Okay, and what is more important here, this data, it's about by 2030, this will be like projected GDP per capita in next 5 years. And if you look at the top towns and bottom states and top states, and you see Sikkim, Goa, Delhi, Haryana, Telangana, etc. on the top, and on the bottom, you again see the same type of states which sometime in 80s, Professor Ashish Bose talked about Bimaru states: Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Odisha. And on the bottom is Bihar in terms of per capita GSDP. And then Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Jammu Kashmir, etc., you can see. And the difference is huge. The per capita GSDP of Bihar is about 1600, 1600 something, and per capita of Delhi or Goa or Sikkim or Haryana, much higher, many times higher. And that's why this migration, interstate migration is taking place. A lot of poor people, marginal people migrating from these states to states with higher GDP. And that's, and it's a major challenge in next maybe 2 decades or 3 decades to address these issues of, regional, trends, regional problems in terms of GDP, etc., the development indicators, whether it is economic or social and other. So this will be a major challenge. Achieving sustainable development goals by 2030 seems to be very difficult because I have a lot of data to show. This is another thing. This is the recent budget of the central government. And if you look at the budget and percentage share of this budget on different important aspects, on urban development, housing, poverty alleviation, etc., it has never been more than 2%. Although the population is going to touch maybe 35% or 38% in next 2-3 years. So you can see, and then other things, agriculture, energy 1.6%, health 1.9% of the total budget. How you will address the marginalities, the issues of poverty, inequality, etc., etc. This is the Ministry of Housing and Poverty Alleviation's budget, and you can see the percentage on the last column. When this new government came in 2014, they said we will provide housing to all by 2022. And then I found one study which is indicating that for achieving housing for all, we need 2% of GDP each year invested in housing sector. And if we include the land cost also, the total requirement will be 19% of GDP. But the current expenditure on GDP on housing was less than 0.5%, and that trend has continued. So how you can imagine that there will be no housing? Today one of my students presented a case of Haryana, and he said Haryana requires 9 lakh housing units or upgradation of units, 9 lakh for 9 lakh families. But during last 10 years, the Haryana government could provide only 60,000 housing units, welfare to 60,000 units. See the gap, it's a huge gap. So this is a problem. Another issue in terms of this context of social inclusion and inclusive development is this data. You look at the percentage of SC, it is a slum regional, slum data, and in Northwest region, you can see this is highest, 29% of people live in slums in this region. And you need to prepare those kind of policies which, can bring them out of slums. And slum free city doesn't mean just demolishing the slum, localities. Recently, they did it in 2-3 areas in Chandigarh, and people, where they go now? I mean, they have not provided, alternative housing facilities. They just demolished, and people are again forced to move to different open areas and maybe some urban village where they don't find, adequate or decent place to live. And we also know when we study situation, status of scheduled caste in slum areas or in other deprived areas, the problems continuing. I'm not going on atrocities and other things. Even yesterday we talked about it. So there are a lot of problems. So their integration is a big challenge. The social inclusion and inclusive development require tremendous efforts through social, political, and economic interventions. So this is, I've been talking about this in different fronts, particularly about SC/ST and how Dr. Ambedkar thought to bring them out of this vicious cycle, etc., etc., and what kind of affirmative actions have been taken so far, and what kind of issues are still continuing. This is another data on poverty. If you look at this, of course, no doubt that ratio of poverty has gone down in terms of $2 per capita. $2 is about 180 rupees per capita. If you have a family of 5, can you survive in 180 rupees? 5 people, education, health, etc., home, so many costs. But if you revise this little bit, I'll show you that data also very soon. This is a very good book, Thomas Piketty, Capitalism in the 21st Century. He's an economist, well-known economist. After this book, a report has started, inequality report, and I'll show you the data how inequality is growing. This is a worrisome factor, and this is combined for few countries. If you look at bottom 50% captured only 15% of the total growth in terms of income growth percentile during 1980 to 2016. But at the same time, look at other aspect, top 1% captured 26%. Here, bottom 50% captured only 15%, but top 1% captured 26%. This is about China. About bottom 50%, their share after they adopted liberalization, the inequality was huge. but they have been taking a lot of affirmative actions to stop this trend of inequality, and they stabilized it. This 1% share was going up, 50% share was going down, but they stabilized it. But in India, and this is again by Thomas Piketty in the inequality report, in India, this trend is still continuing. The share of 1% is going up, the share of bottom 50% is going down. So this is again in the context of this theme of the conference as well as our symposium. This is very crucial issue. How many people are excluded because of this growing inequality? We need to go for inclusive development, inclusive policies. Our achievement in terms of poverty alleviation have not been very, very effective. And there have been a lot of studies which indicate poverty risk and poverty incidence in different regions. This is NSS, so based on NSS of data, we can still update it. This is a little old study, but we can update it. And we know that there have been a lot of areas, lot of regions, lot of districts within the states which are deprived, which are on development indicators which are not good. So this kind of imbalance even within the state exists. You have border districts like in Punjab, Hoshiarpur, etc., and you can see the